Have you ever dreamed of building the career in life you truly want, but felt unsure where to start? The Career Capital Collective podcast with Sarah Robson and Kayleigh Gaspari is your blueprint for success, offering actionable advice on navigating career pivot. Join us in redefining success on your own terms. Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Career Capital Collective podcast. We're your hosts, Kayleigh Gaspari
and Sarah Robson.
So today we're going to be talking about how to set yourself up for success when you move to a new country.
Yep.
Something that Sarah and I have done many times.
Too many times.
So let's first set the stage on essentially where we've moved and why we're even allowed to talk about this topic.
Totally. So I'll kick off. I moved from Toronto in 2013 to New York. I lived in New York for 8 years. And then I moved from New York to Los Angeles. And then I moved from Los Angeles to San Francisco. And then I recently moved back to Los Angeles. So a lot of places within the United States. However, only one big country move. And Kayleigh, you've done something that's even more crazy.
Crazy is the right word for that. Not impressive.
I was going to say impressive, but I think crazy is better.
Crazy is the right word. I moved after I graduated university. I finished up my undergrad in Australia. So I moved to Sydney. I finished school there. From there, I did like an internship program in Ghana, which was kind of like a volunteer thing.
That's amazing.
Then Nepal. Then I moved to Thailand and taught English for a year.
Wow.
Then I ended up moving back to Canada, worked in Canada for a bit, got some jobs in the States. So I was working on a TN during that time. Eventually, I moved to the US. And then I got a green card, I got married, and also in between there, I moved to Europe. So I did my MBA in Spain, and then I moved and got a work visa to work in Germany. So I was able to work and live there for a little while.
That is literally the most impressive thing I've ever heard. I don't think I know anyone
It was
that's
the
ever
most
done that.
frustrating thing in the world. And anyone who is either looking to move or in the process of moving, you become quite resilient because if you're especially in a language where, in a country where you're not speaking the language and you're trying to go to the bank and figure out your banking situation as well as your visa situation, it really builds a tough skin.
Yeah. No, I actually can't imagine moving to that many countries. I mean, the United States is quite a difficult country, I think, to get set up in right away. I'll just quickly share my experience. So first of all, you need a work visa. But then once you have the work visa, you need to get a social insurance number, and then you need to set up your bank account. Setting up the bank account is usually not too difficult, but the one thing that's hard is like you start with no credit. You literally start at zero, and you have to build your way up. And getting a credit card, it's really impossible to get one at any of the major carriers when you first start. And so what I had done when I first started was all of like Macy's and like Sephora. I started with a lot of the shopping credit cards. And that I got a ton of them, and they like slowly start building up the credit little by little. Those are the easiest ones to get. And then there's some where you can essentially have a credit card that's backed by your bank. Yeah.
I think the order of operations can be tricky. Like when you think, hey, I want to, for example, move to England.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming. And I can talk about the way that I did it because I always tried to use like essentially school or some sort of infrastructure so they could figure that all out for me.
Right.
But you did it on your own.
Yeah. I honestly just figured it out along the way and just asked people that were already living in the city that I wanted to live in. So before I moved to New York, I mean, I had a couple of friends, and they like helped me out so much. But if I didn't get their guidance, like it would have been even more difficult, and it was very difficult. So I am more of like a figure it out as I go. I am not as much of a planner as most people are. Lack of planning sometimes can be helpful because then you just have to figure it out.
So what we really want to talk about on this episode is how to set yourself up for success when you're moving to a new country. And there's beyond the actual infrastructure of like credit cards or having credit, having a place to live, like having a work visa. There's also the psychological aspect of it, you know, moving away from your friends, missing some of those big life moments.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you start and how were you able to kind of set up your life in the U.S.?
Yeah. I mean, really it started obviously started working, and then I will figure out somewhere temporary to live because I don't want to commit to a year-long lease without really understanding like the area. And so in New York, I mean, I had explained in a prior episode, but like I stayed with a friend for 3 weeks. And in that time, when I was there for 3 weeks, I was able to like suss out the different areas. And then I also didn't sign a lease then. I ended up finding a temporary multiple month like situation through Craigslist, live with these two guys. I mean, that situation, I was like literally living in this guy's like closet. It was probably not
Harry Potter vibes.
Yeah. I mean, it was cheap rent, didn't have any windows. We had separate entrances, but it was like what I honestly like had to do to get started. But it was really close to my work, and I was like, all right, perfect. At least I'm like walking distance to my work. I'm only staying there for a couple of months, and then I can use that time to like further understand the different areas.
Right.
And especially in New York, I mean, there's a million different areas. You can live in Brooklyn, you can live in Manhattan. Like, it's also different price points per area. And then I really tried to find a roommate. And so once I had that, then we looked together for a place. And then it was literally in my 4th month there that I ended up signing a lease. And I'm so glad that I did it that way.
Yeah.
And I've actually taken that same kind of strategy of testing the waters before committing to a longer term lease in every single place that I've moved.
100%. And I would say to our listeners out there that are going to be moving somewhere, do that, because even pictures, what you think the vibe's going to be like from chat GPTing it, it's not. And it's very individual, right? Like your experience with the community. And so I did the same thing with the exception of when I moved to Spain because we had to find somewhere to live before we went.
Right.
But some people would, like, they came a month early, right? And they said, okay, I'm going to go live in a temporary housing situation and check out the different neighborhoods, because the last thing you want to do is move into a place and then hate it.
Stuck there.
And have like a 12-month lease or something.
Yeah.
So that's really good advice.
And I think another thing that I wish I had listened to earlier is that I fully furnished so many different places and had to leave so much furniture along the way. I mean, bringing my furniture from New York to LA like really didn't make sense. And every place that you have is like small. It's like bigger or smaller. Like the stuff's not going to fit. And I think I wish I had like invested less in nice furniture.
I never did that. I've been living out of a suitcase literally until I just bought my house and I'm 35.
All right, well, that is the advice that people should be listening to.
Or you can get stuff that is going to easily fit into another space. But
right.
if you're moving across the country, you're not going to bring your furniture with you.
Totally.
So like that, I sold a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but I was never overly committed to having certain things.
Yeah.
And I think if you want the flexibility, I think that's a good one as well.
Totally.
Because
totally.
The last thing you want to be doing is like having things in your forever home that don't fit the space, that don't look good.
100%. So changing over to friends and knowing that you moved to Nashville pretty recently, how are you making friends?
I'm so bad at making friends because I work so much, and it's something that I've always leaned really heavily into. So I'm consciously having to make different decisions than I normally would.
Yeah.
So for example, something I'm trying to do is reach out to friends that I know that have come to the area, friends of friends.
Right.
Finding friends through Instagram as an example, and them introducing me to people that have moved here.
Mm-hmm.
I've also thought about joining a community group. So if there's any ladies out there in Nashville that know a cool community group, let me know.
I love it.
Maybe a run club or something like that. So I think being part of the community is really important. And one of the other reasons I actually moved here from California was I'm so much closer to Toronto. So it's now only an hour and a half flight. I actually have to kind of transit through Toronto for my work sometimes.
Amazing.
And so I'm able to see my best friends that I grew up with there as well.
It's such an unlock.
But I think
they're going to say taxes.
No.
And
we
that.
can talk about taxes later. Something that's been so rewarding has been like reconnecting with friends. So like even just, if you're moving somewhere that's closer to your friends and family, I think that's like a big unlock.
100%.
But how do you make friends in a new city? Because you've probably done a better job of it than I have.
When I moved to New York, New York and Toronto are so close. I really made an effort to stay just as close of friends with my Toronto friends when I moved to New York for those 8 years. I mean, I would do crazy 5 a.m. flights from Buffalo so that I could get to the office at 7:30 in New York all the time. I really have made a conscious effort to keep those relationships. So honestly, my best friends are still my best friends from high school. When I moved to California, obviously it's much further from Toronto. My sister lives in San Francisco, so that helped. But also when I moved to LA, I reconnected with so many Canadians that I had met along the way. Right. And I think there, because it's so much further from Toronto, the Canadians, I think, stick together maybe even more so. And then I joined the Venice Run Club. And then when I moved to San Francisco, I joined the Marina Run Club. Shout out Marina Run Club. And a lot of these run clubs have WhatsApp chats. And so you join these chats and they're just telling you what's going on. What are the cool restaurants? What concert are we going to? And so I met a ton of people through that. Yeah. And then I'm also in some group chats for LA as well. So it's literally these WhatsApp chats that I think are the complete unlock to know what to do in a city and to find like-minded friends.
I like that there's also new apps that they have in different groups. There's Meetup, there's Nudge, which can nudge you about events. Yeah. I think you kind of have to get a little bit out of your comfort zone. Totally. I consider myself to be quite extroverted, but I'm always nervous when I'm going to meet a new group of friends.
So interesting.
Yeah. And you would never think that.
No.
I get the feedback all the time that I come off that I'm not nervous, but I still am.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think too, I'm always so surprised and energized when I go meet new people, especially when you're at a like-minded event or even a concert or something. Yeah. So just kind of putting yourself out there, I think, is really important when you move to a new city because it can be quite isolating. Mm-hmm. And you should talk about some of the ways that you've navigated or dealt with the struggles of, being apart from friends and family because I think that's one of the hardest things to do when you move, especially overseas.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, it's really just making a conscious effort to check in with them and make sure whenever you go home that you're making time to actually see them. Thank God for Instagram. I think that has been really the only way I've been able to stay in touch with so many people.
Creep on people.
To creep on people, all the DMs. I think it's just remembering what matters to you and who in your life do you want to stay in touch with, because there is an element of out of sight, out of mind, right? And when you're in a new city and you're immersed in that world, I mean, it's easy to kind of leave behind what you had. But I think relationships take effort, and I think there's some. I mean, it's awesome in our case because we literally reconnected after 10 plus years. But I think making that conscious effort and being do I want to have this person in my life for the next 20, 30 years? And if that's a yes, then it's making a concerted effort to make sure you're doing the check-in, reminding yourself, setting calendar invites when their birthday is, all the things.
That's important, showing up in the way that you would expect them to. Yeah. I think there's this sense that you get left behind a little bit when you move somewhere else. I always felt this challenge of missing out on life events, and I would not get jealous, but I had this deep sadness that, I'm chasing my dream, but I'm, missing out on all these things that are all, happening with my family and my friends. And I think for me, I really wanted to stay focused on what the reason I had moved in the first place. Right. So I was able to kind of rationalize that and get the job done while also still saying it's okay. I miss my friends. I'm going to come back eventually and connect with them. Totally. But this is going to really suck. Yeah. And I think managing your expectations is really important if you're moving overseas because it's going to be so frustrating sometimes when you're, trying to go to the bank and get a bank account open and no one speaks English and they're closed every day. Oh my gosh. These struggles are real. And then, it's your best friend's birthday and everyone's hanging out. Yeah. So I've had to talk myself off the ledge a few times of being okay, I'm here because I chose to be here. This is aligned with me achieving my dreams. Yeah. I'm going to push through and it's going to be worth it. And you're strong and you can do it.
Yeah. How did you know that you wanted to switch countries or cities? Because you've made pretty big moves around the world. But how did you know in your heart, say when you were in Munich, that that was no longer serving you and you wanted to move somewhere else?
I think there's this idea that the grass is greener on the other side. I've been the type of person that I will get bored very easily if I'm not challenged or I feel like I'm stagnant and then I'll want to move somewhere. And the most exciting thing for me is to throw myself into an environment where I don't speak the language or it's culturally different or it's new and, I can use the excuse that I'm doing school. So it's like, oh, I'm learning here. I'm being educated, but I'm also, living in Germany as an example.
Right.
So for me, I had this idea in my mind that I wanted to work in tech. I had come from many years in operations and consulting. And so I pivoted. I had to get the job. I pivoted to tech and they put me in Munich.
Got it.
I had not chosen it. It was like a Russian roulette in Europe of essentially it was like a leadership program and you got to choose your top 3 and then they put me in Munich, which was not in my top 3, by the way.
That's crazy.
It was.
I mean, good for you for just going for it.
I just went for it. And I wanted the experience. I was like, you know what? This is not a decision that I can't undo.
Right.
Though it felt very permanent because I had wanted to.
Yeah.
So I ended up staying there not super long. Like I worked there, I think a total of 9 months. And I don't know, it didn't feel in my gut like the right fit for me. Like I found myself not super happy with the job. I had friends there actually. So I had that community aspect, but I didn't feel like I was advancing my career the way I wanted to.
Fair.
And I missed, honestly, like my friends and family. And at that time, it was more important for me to reconnect with them.
Yeah.
Because I was nervous that, my grandparents were getting old. They might pass soon. And I felt like I was missing out on a life that if I wasn't fully committed to staying there and being there, it didn't make sense for me.
Totally.
So I left and I was really sad and ashamed and all that because it's hard to leave something that you think is your dream, but it may not align.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think the thought I always have is the worst case is I just move home. And that's like a great situation. And so nothing's permanent, right? Like you can be working this job, you don't like it, you quit. You can be moving to the city, you don't like it, you move. I mean, life truly can be whatever you want it to be, right? And so if you try something you don't like it, I mean, it's not worth just toughing it out and trying to make it work. I mean, I honestly tried to do that with San Francisco. I lived there for a year and a half and I was like, I actually do not like it here. And a lot of people were like, oh, just another year, another year on top of that. After 3 years, you'll love it. And I'm like, but I just don't. And I just know in my gut that I absolutely don't like it. And so as much as the people around me were really upset about it, I ultimately had to do what's best for me. And if I had a kid and if I was married, it would be a different story. Right. But at this point where we have the flexibility based on us not having dependence, it's you got to be advocating for yourself because if you're not advocating for yourself, no one else is.
Exactly.
So.
Well, what's interesting about that is the advice there is if it isn't truly right and it's not just, oh, I haven't given it a fair shot. It's not for you. Cut that cord early because those months you could be using to invest in something else that's more fitted for you. And there's my main lesson there was there isn't any shame. No one actually cares.
Yeah.
No one was looking at my LinkedIn being like, oh my God, I can't believe that
literally
she
nobody.
left Germany.
Nobody.
But that's something I was struggling with, honestly. I was like, oh, I'm a failure. It didn't work.
But I think it's all based on what you, it's what you were thinking. But I feel like everyone's just caught up in their own world. No one's thinking about us, or you, me. It's just us.
Exactly. And everyone deserves a chance to try something new. And maybe if you're on the edge of thinking of moving somewhere and, you really want to do it, but you're scared because it's something new or it's something different, do whatever you need to do to set yourself up for your level of comfort. So, me, I needed a little bit more stability or have an understanding of having school there as a way for me to go.
Right.
Because I knew I had a community already. I knew they would help me with my visa, et cetera.
Yeah.
Sarah did it more figuring it out herself and had a harder landing, I'd say.
Yeah.
But your comfort level, you define that and then go for it and give yourself the opportunity and the chance to push yourself out of your comfort zone because I'm not getting any younger. I have no regrets ever about any place I've ever gone. And if it didn't work out, I learned something really important from that.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to echo that. I mean, the worst feeling in the world is feeling like you didn't go after everything that you wanted to in life. Life, I think, just gets more complicated. And I mean, I remember this has happened to me hundreds of times where I'll come home, I'll visit my friends from home, and then someone will take me aside and be like, oh my God, I want to live in LA so bad and I would do anything to do it. How did you do it? And you just got to start with the first step. It's try and get a job. Once you get the job, you get the visa. Once you get the visa, move. I know that sounds so completely simplistic,
Right.
But I think people just get so overwhelmed by the whole thing. But it's just like breaking it into little chunks, right?
That's
It's
right.
like you just do one little like next step, and then it's the next step. But then it'll just like compile into like the actual life or like the goal of what you're trying to achieve.
I think that's really good advice. Like, write it down, make it digestible, and just do one little thing.
Yeah.
Like, spend one day looking up what different type of visas are that you would need to get.
Yeah.
Or, look into interesting programs that you want to do. Or
Yeah.
maybe go a few months earlier and attend a conference or a concert or something and like
Totally.
check out different areas. Like,
Yeah.
you can do it in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming, to your point.
Totally. And I don't want to not mention, obviously, we're very aware of how complicated the immigration system is in the United States right now. However, there are still visa options. Like those have not gone away. And my view, and I have had many different types of visas. I have been denied visas in the past. And it's so stressful. So I don't want to make it seem like it's easy, but anything truly is able. Like,
Agree.
anything. So if you want it badly enough, you will figure it out.
And I think on that point, you don't have to figure it out all by yourself. Like, lean into your resources. There's communities out there. Like, I think you were part of a Facebook group at some point.
Yeah, Facebook group. I mean, I have an immigration lawyer that will do free consultations.
Right.
It's like talk to the experts.
Definitely talk to the experts. If I learned anything over my last few months, like being officially a green card holder now, it's that you don't want to is that you don't want to figure that stuff out yourself.
No.
And especially when the administration was changing, like I was terrified.
Yeah.
We had done nothing wrong, but it's just a scary time to be like, getting a green card.
We're a guest in the country.
And traveling as well.
Yeah.
You're like, I still get nervous, but
Totally.
I think to your point, if you do it properly and you have the right expertise, like you can still be able to, move around and do what you want to do.
Yes.
I think to wrap up, like, if you're thinking about making the move, there's, a few pieces of advice that we'd probably give our listeners. And like, my main one is, yourself really well. Don't sell yourself short of opportunities. Like, do the level of research that you need in order to feel comfortable, like taking the first step towards doing what you want. And for me, I really enjoyed using school or like a job as a way to actually like support my travel. So for example, in Spain, like when I went through the schooling program, the school helped me set up my visa. They helped me set up a place to live. You had a community you were working with. And that really allowed me to have like a safe kind of space where we could go through that together and I didn't feel so alone.
Interesting. I love that.
And so, there's different ways to do it, but that would be my advice is figure out what way you want to do it and then start taking steps towards it.
Yeah. Agreed.
What's your last piece of advice?
My last piece of advice is like get clear on what you want. Spend time journaling. What do you like really want most in this world from a career standpoint, where you want to live? Your career, where you live, the partner that you have. Those are some of the biggest choices that you can make. And so I think if there's somewhere you want to go, it's like find a pathway to go there, and it's possible. So I think living with regret is like not like, I think now like anything is kind of figure outable. I know I said that before, but I really feel like it can seem so daunting, but if you just break it into smaller steps, one little inch and then another inch. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, like, and our links are in the description below. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Career Capital Collective podcast with Sarah Robson and Kayleigh Gaspari.
We hope you feel inspired and empowered to take charge of your career and build the life you truly want. Follow us on Instagram at Career Capital Collective.